Hello, my name is Natasha Ellis and I'm a student here at Cal State LA. This video will provide information about the 3 types of review of research involving human subjects. An IRB application is required for all 3 types of review. 1 hard copy with signatures should be delivered to the IRB coordinator in the Office of Research Development on the 3rd floor of the Golden Eagle building, across from the elevators in Suite 314. An electronic copy without signatures should be sent to the IRB coordinator at the email address listed on the application form as a single Word document.
The first and briefest type of review is exempt review. In order to qualify for exempt review, your research must involve no more than minimal risk and fall under one of the specific categories of exempt research listed in Chapter 2, Section 2.6 of the IRB Application Guidelines. If you believe your research falls under one of these categories, you must submit the IRB short form application for exempt category review. The IRB coordinator will do a brief administrative review of your application in order to confirm that your research qualifies for exemption. You may be contacted by the IRB coordinator for further information or clarification, but a thorough review will not be conducted. When the IRB coordinator has enough information to determine that your research meets one of the exempt criteria, you will receive a memo declaring your research exempt. No further review is necessary, even if your research goes beyond 1 year. However, if any changes are made to the methods or procedures described in the application, you must submit a new application so that the project may be reevaluated for exemption. For exempt category number 4, involving the use of existing data, records, or specimens, your research may qualify for a waiver, as described in Section 2.6 of the Guidelines. If you believe it qualifies for a waiver, you must complete a special section on the IRB short form application for exempt review. The IRB coordinator only conducts occasional random reviews of this type of application, and you will not be contacted or receive any memo. Once you submit your completed application with signatures, you may begin your research. For this case only, no electronic copy of the application needs to be submitted. The second type of review is expedited review. In order to qualify for expedited review, your research must also involve no more than minimal risk and fall under one of the specific categories of expedited research listed in Chapter 2, Section 2.7 of the IRB Guidelines. If you believe your research falls under one of these categories, you must submit the IRB full-length form for new or renewal applications. The IRB coordinator will do a brief administrative review of your application in order to confirm that your project qualifies for expedited review, and then forward your application to an IRB member. You will then be contacted by the reviewing IRB member for further information, clarifications, or revisions as outlined in the review memo. When the IRB member finds the application acceptable, you will receive a final approval memo from the IRB coordinator. The third type of review is full committee review. Research involving more than minimal risk or more than minimal deception must be reviewed by the full committee at one of its convened meetings. If you believe your research requires full committee review, you must submit the IRB full-length form for new or renewal applications. The schedule of IRB meetings can be found on the Office of Research Development, Research with Human Subjects webpage. The IRB recommends that the researchers, including faculty advisor if applicable, schedule a specific time to attend the meeting to answer questions about the application. This will help to speed up the review process. The IRB coordinator will do a brief administrative review of your application in order to confirm that your research requires full review, and then forward your application to the entire committee. After the meeting, you will be contacted by the IRB coordinator for further information, clarification, or revisions as outlined in the review memo. When the IRB finds the application acceptable, you will receive a final approval memo from the IRB coordinator. For research reviewed by the expedited or full review process, approval is for no more than 1 year at a time. If your research will be continuing beyond the approval period, you must submit the short form application for continuation or modification at least 1 month prior to the expiration date of the approval period. If you need to make any changes to your research during the approval period, you must submit the short form application for continuation or modification before you can implement the changes. Applications for continuation and modification will receive the same type of review, expedited or full, as the original application, and you will receive a final approval memo indicating that you may proceed.
Other videos on the Office of Research Development Research with Human Subjects webpage contain information about different topics related to your IRB application. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.